Barring military and science, gaming is the main driver for the market to produce more powerful computers. You don't need a $10,000 computer to use Microsoft Documents. Sometime in the past, someone stood up and said, let's make a game look as realistic as possible, and didn't really understand why, other than that they thought they should. These people probably worked for EA. Graphics in games are always a discussion point, but they often undersell the real reason for graphics: style. Hi-Fi Rush is a game that's so stylistically different and consistent in artistic vision, its cutscenes alone are a masterclass in animation. You flawlessly transition from your gameplay into the cutscene because the cutscene and gameplay are exactly matched. You get this beautiful moment where the villain stands on the literal edge of their comic strip box, knocking a bomb out of one of the drone's hands and then transitioning us into the rest of the action. It's so freaking cool! Style is what keeps a game like Halo looking dated but visually interesting, whereas a game like Call of Duty just looks dated. Don't get me wrong, some of these games are some of the greatest shooters to ever grace mankind's eyeballs, but an honest look at the two side by side, one has aged significantly better than the other. There's nothing wrong about pushing for better graphics, but we're at an interesting point in our technology where our graphics are getting so realistic yet cheaper and cheaper to make that failure to produce a visually appealing product is either a lack of time, budget, or an understanding of style. Super Mario 64, it looks as old as it seems, but despite this, the game still holds up, while GoldenEye looks like a bunch of D20s had sex. Of course, Mario has less intricate detail, but its choice in color and its clear focus on style is why it, like many other Nintendo games, will never really be visually unappealing. Nowadays, I won't even bother picking up a game if it doesn't have a clear art style from the get-go. For me, when a game is just trying to be purely functional or looks so similar to everything else in the market, I know immediately the developers aren't trying to make art, they're trying to make a profit. That being said, there's something to be said for a functional stylization. Superhot has got to be one of the most stylized shooters on the market. From the top down, everything has so much intentionality behind it, it feels like the game was metaphorically spell-checked by a supercomputer AI. Its style further pushes these decisions. Enemies are red, weapons are black, environments are white. A new player can immediately understand everything on screen without even needing much of a tutorial. Swap this back to most of your modern day shooters and we often get browns on browns. Realistic, sure, but these kinds of experiences are often meant to be churned out like a mill or updated with DLC to keep a hole in your wallet so that the developers can keep the cash flow going. So much story and character can be derived from a game's style. A good art style can push an otherwise graphically mediocre game like Persona 5 into being one of the greatest RPGs ever created. Hell, just looking at this freaking pause menu, good lord, if most games had even a fraction of this style in the rest of the game, we wouldn't be in a AAA industry consumer war right now. Pull away this art and you're still left with this clear attention to animation, camera angles, and of course, music. If graphics are the face, soundtracks are the lungs. A good soundtrack can be the entire reason to play a game. Heck, it's the reason I still hold to this day that Undertale is one of the greatest games of all time. Think of your favorite game, and I guarantee you that you heard the soundtrack in your head as well. When I say Skyrim, this enters your head. Hollow Knight, this enters your head. Breath of the Wild, this enters your head. These games have soundtracks that are so carefully tailored to their style, it's inescapable from their identity. Mechanics are yet another manifestation of style that doesn't often get discussed. There's something to be said for nailing the basics, but the greats take the basics and put their own twist on it, and then sometimes add some more. Titanfall 2 is the top 5 greatest shooters of all time. This game's art style makes landscapes look distinct and interesting. The soundtrack is fine, but where Titanfall surpasses its competition is in its mechanics. Wall riding, grapple hooking, bunny hopping, sliding, all these mechanics feel like a Beethoven symphony of intentionality and creativity. Remove any one of these and the entire system falls apart. Look, I like Apex, but it's no Titanfall. Anyways, Respawn didn't just stop at making some of the most enjoyable movement mechanics in shooter history. That's all meaningless unless there's context put to it. Maps are designed to encourage your movement. Titans are combated by movement. Weapons are balanced around movement. This game unfolds to you like a beautiful flower, and you as a casual player can stop to appreciate its beauty, or you can dig down to a microscopic level and appreciate how amazing each cell is individually. Style is the art of making good choices. As Facebook's failed attempt at overthrowing VR chat has shown us, you can have all the money in the world and it doesn't mean a damn thing if you don't know how to pull it all together. The proof in the pudding is that games that have survived years longer than others in a similar genre often are games with a strong sense of style. Team Fortress 2 is old enough to attend high school, yet this, despite very little updates, is consistently the top 10 played games on Steam. Good gameplay and style produces quality games. Originality is extremely difficult to derive today because as time has gone on, ideas have been done, redone, or unintentionally copied more and more. But staying grounded in good gameplay and style is always present in the best or at least most popular games. As much as we love to rag on it, Among Us got its rise to internet memedom because of its style. Its simplistic yet colorful graphics were easy to understand both to new players and players watching you play it on Twitch. The idea wasn't original. Games like Town of Salem, Gary's Mod have existed almost since multiplayer games were feasible to produce, but clearly its presentation of this classic game was what really pushed this far above the competition. Minecraft is graphically one of the worst games I have seen. Its graphics look like a garage project from the 90s, and its concept is basically Legos, but on a PC game. Sounds interesting, but only for like an afternoon. Not the multi-billion-dollar gaming monolith it is today. Style is the ability to convey information. Minecraft works because everything about the game serves to convey how to make the game work. Up until recently, Minecraft didn't have a tutorial. Why not? Because it didn't really need it. The joy in the game is figuring out and exploring mechanics. Its style is oversimplified almost to a fault, but this works for Minecraft. What is this? That's grass. This? That's a chicken. What's this? A zombie. You should probably avoid it. You don't need to be told how these things work because it just makes sense. Games like Minecraft show that just by simply having a distinct and purposeful style, you are likely to make a better product, at least a product that sticks in players' minds. Fine. Some of you still don't believe me. I can see it on your face. It's okay. Don't say I didn't warn you though. This is Cruelty Squad. It makes me want to jab up my eyes with a rusty spoon. Upon first inspection of the game, you would think that the overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam were a coordinated effort of internet trolls. But then you see how many people have actually rated this taint-stained looking game so well, and you begin to doubt if trolls can really be that coordinated. The developer of Cruelty Squad went to great lengths to make a good game, and then spent twice that amount of time to make the game look like garbage. Cruelty Squad intentionally took a game with great shooter mechanics and covered them in a puree of pig guts and deep-fried meat. Nevertheless, intentionally bad style is still style. This game wouldn't have the zest that makes it stand above the thousands of other shooter games lost and forgotten on Steam without its clearly rage against... Can I help you? Without its clearly rage against the status quo styling. As a closing thought, I think creative restrictions can often breed better style. Indie games like Ultrakill clearly have a smaller budget than Doom, but because they were forced to compete with less of what they had to nail the style and understand what really makes a movement shooter enjoyable, rather than falling for the trappings of corporate thinking. Maybe that's why the indie game market has always had such a soft spot in my heart. You know, these people aren't trying to make something that sells, although that would be nice for them, of course. They are trying to give a dream flesh. The ones that do it right rise to the top naturally. They don't have a massive marketing budget to cover their faults. It's do or die.